that any nominee, this is any nominee, put forward by President Obama would be beaten like a piñata. And his right-wing billionaire and big business allies, they've actually made good on that threat. When rumors, just rumors, circulated that Jane Kelly, a highly respected federal judge, might, just might, be under consideration, the Judicial Crisis Network, which is this shadowy right-wing group that's financed with dark money from the billionaire Koch brothers, this group ran television ads attacking her for her service to the nation as a federal public defender. Now, as you all know, the president eventually nominated Merrick Garland, a judge that is so revered for his professionalism that days before he was announced, Republican Senator Orrin Hatch called him a fine man who the president could easily name to fill the vacancy. And then what happened? Scores of Republican senators refused to even meet with him. The Judicial Crisis Network started again, spending millions of dollars on television ads to demean this man. The NFIB, a right-wing lobbying group that claims to speak for small businesses but is actually swimming in cash from conservative billionaires, announced that it would oppose Garland's nomination because in cases involving federal agencies, the judge ruled in their favor 77% of the time. Now that's a punchline a room full of lawyers will appreciate, because every lawyer in this room knows that federal law requires judges to defer to most agency actions. But apparently, it doesn't matter anymore whether or not Judge Garland follows the law. What matters is that he doesn't bend the law to suit giant corporations. Judge Garland is not a politician. He is a judge with an unimpeachable record of putting the law first. And for that sin, he faces a nonstop national campaign of slime. He faces historic disrespect from the Republicans who control the Senate. It is despicable, it must end, and we must end it. The goal here is pretty straightforward. It's to tilt the game, and it's working. 86% of President Obama's judicial nominees have either worked as a corporate attorney, a prosecutor, or both, while less than 4% have worked as lawyers in public interest organizations. You know, professional diversity is missing from the federal bench, and justice suffers for it. But even disqualifying judges based on their professional background isn't enough for Donald Trump. Trump tells everyone who will listen that he is a great businessman. But let's be honest, he is just a guy who inherited a fortune and kept it rolling along by cheating people. And you know, when that's your business model, sooner or later you're going to run into legal trouble. And Donald Trump has run into a lot of legal trouble. Oh yes, Trump University, which his own former employees refer to as one big fraudulent scheme. Now, many of Trump University's victims ended up deep in debt, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and no way to pay it off. Trump's employee playbook said, look for people with financial problems because they make good targets. He even encouraged his sales force to go after elderly people who were trying to create a little financial security because Trump figured they were vulnerable. Now, I taught law for more than 30 years, and you can ask any lawyer in America, and they will tell you that sounds a lot like fraud. And I'm just saying. And by the way, that is exactly what Donald Trump is being sued for. He's being sued for fraud and worse, for targeting the most vulnerable people he could find, lying to them, taking all their money, and leaving them in debt. Now, some of these people are fighting back because in America, we have the rule of law. And that means no matter how rich you are, no matter how loud you are, no matter how famous you are, if you break the law, you can be held accountable, even if your name is Donald Trump. Trump doesn't think those rules apply to him. So at a political rally 2 weeks ago, and almost daily since then, the presumptive Republican nominee for President of the United States has savagely attacked Gonzalo Curiel, the federal judge presiding over his case. He's explained, "We are in front of a very hostile judge," Trump said. "Frankly, he should recuse himself. He has given us ruling after ruling, negative, negative, negative." Understand what this is. Trump is criticizing Judge Curiel for following the law instead of bending it to suit the financial interests of one wealthy and oh so fragile defendant. Also whined that he's being treated unfairly because the judge happens to be, we believe, Mexican. And when he got called out, he doubled down by saying, "I'm building a wall. It's an inherent conflict of interest." He has personally directed his army of campaign surrogates to step up their own